Today's topic is Robert Frost, a typical American poet. Frost, representative poet of America. Frost reached the zenith of his popularity during his lifetime and is a most prized American poet. He has been hailed as the one great American poet of our time, a New Englander in the great tradition, to be placed beside Emerson, Hawthorne, and Thoreau. All these praises are drowned by that glorious remark equating Frost with America. He has been called the voice of America. In fact, the solid base beneath the artifact of his towering popularity is the fact that no other poet was so thoroughly and typically American as Frost was. His poetry represents American scenes of nature. No other American poet can claim to have described its scenes of nature with such intense, engrossing vividness of detail as Frost has been able to do. Frost's first volume of poems, A Boy's Will, took the literary world by storm. In it, we find an astonishing typical American portrayal of the scenes of nature that were the poet's favorite haunts and the inspiration behind the poems contained in this volume. The scenes of nature form the poems contained in this volume. The scenes of nature form a vast, entering playground for the poet's fancy and imagination. A Boy's Will is not only a collection of a poet's poems, but it is also a blueprint of his certain characteristics of Frost's poetry. Rural depiction of America in his poetry. Some people have a grudge against Frost, and they have reason to nurse this grudge. They feel that in his poetry, Frost does not represent the essential America, while the real America is urban. These depicts feel that Frost has deliberately chosen to give a description of a very limited part of America, the rural aspect. His poetry contains American tradition. American literature had its roots in the Western civilization, which goes back to the Greek times. Robert Frost inherited the tradition which grew from the legends of the lost Atlantis and the Norse sagas. In Gift Outright, in his poem, Frost consciously or unconsciously gives voice to this cultural tradition of America. The poem epitomizes America, its land, its history, achievements, promise, dreams, and national inheritance. American tradition is part of Robert Frost. He is typically American in the choice of words and selection of idioms too. Frost Americanism make him a minor poet. Does it true or not? Some critics are of the opinion that Frost is a minor poet precisely because he is typically American poet. Frost decided to give expression to whatever is typical American in his poetry. Though extremely popular, he could not rise high in poetic stature. Frost is akin to Tennyson in the retrospect. Both achieved new heights of popularity during their lifetime, but after a real estimate, both fall short of standards of excellence. Popularity in not the barometer of excellence. Conclusion In conclusion, I will say that Robert Frost absorbed the spirit of his country. It does not matter if he depicts rural America or urban America. What matters is that his poetry is imbued with American tradition. He mirrors New England more freshly than any other writer, but he gives in many of his poems a universal significance of the New England landscape and the Yankee peasant's character.